Alright, so this is the first project instructional video that'll help you create an A section. To find the directions, you need to go to my Schoology course, open up the Digital Composing Unit folder, and you will find a bunch of directions and videos. The first one here is composing an A section form. So we're working on the form or structure of songs, and so the first step is to just make an A section. Each of these project directions documents should be open in Notability. You'll see that right here. That's a requirement. It saves a lot of time because then you can check off these boxes. It's a very simple step. Some people skip it because they prefer not to take that extra step to go to Notability, and they typically spend maybe 50% more time because they're always trying to figure out where they are in the directions. If you're in Notability, you can check it off as you go. So this tells you then how to save the project. You need to save the project with the right name. It gives you an example. For example, this would be composing A section benanderson.mmm. You do that. I'll show how to do that in a second. Then you locate your sounds. Some projects let you choose sounds and some are prescribed. You have to use the right ones. And then it gives you clear directions on how to make the A section. So if we jump over to Magics, like I said, the first thing that it had us do was save the arrangement as, and you give it the correct title. This would be composing A section Ben Anderson. Don't put Ben Anderson unless that's your name. You can save it on the desktop. Next, it tells me I can choose whatever style I want. So I go into Add Styles. I drop down to Magics Files hard drive. I open up sound files, and here's a whole list of styles. There's a lot, so I can choose basically anything I want. Let's say I choose Rock Pop Volume 8. I click OK. It's going to then load over here in the Styles folder. So there's Rock Pop 8. I click on Drums, and I can start exploring around until I find one that I like. I'm just going to go with Detroit Drums A. Now that I've added that style, I can start. It asks us to put the drum beat on the screen and go for 8 measures. Keep in mind, 8 measures means up to number 9 on the time bar. A lot of people put it up there and stretch it out for 7 measures. They see that number 8 and they think they've made it 8 measures long. But even if you count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We haven't finished the 8th measure. You have to finish it. It goes up to 9. Drummers cannot play chord progressions. That's going to come in handy because it's real easy to make a drum beat for 8 measures. Later, I choose a bass sound. I'm going to try Davenport Bass B. Now in the directions, it's going to ask you to make a chord progression. So that means I have to have progress. And to have forward progress, you have to have some variety. So I'm going to follow this pattern 1, 4, 5, 4. And the bass player is then going to set the pattern for the rest of the band. So now I can go find a harmony. Probably guitars, keys, pads, and synthesizers. Those are always good harmonies. Guitar players can play it because they have multiple strings. Keyboards can play harmony because they have many keys. Pads are just long versions of a synthesizer or a keyboard sound. Strings can also play that because it can play harmonies because there are multiple players. And then synthesizers, again, is just another word for piano keyboards or interesting things like that. So let's just pick something. That one's a little bit more aggressive, so I like that. Now I have to use, again, the same chord progression. 1, 4, 5, 4. If I don't follow the same number pattern as the bass, it's almost like the band didn't have rehearsal. They didn't practice and they're not playing the same thing. It might sound cool, but it's not going to sound right. And you have to make that decision. Do you want it to sound right, or do you want it to sound really, really strange? Next up, I need to find a melody. Melodies can be found in brass, in guitar and keys sometimes, not pads, not percussion, maybe strings, and probably vocals. So in this case, I'm going to stay away from vocals because that can get a little tricky. I suggest you do too for now. But we need to find something that's a melody. It sticks out. It's something you can sing along with. Well, that's a single sound going up and down. It might fit with that. So I'm going to try that. Now, I should probably follow the same chord progression. 1, 4. So now I've got 2 synthesizers. 5 and 4. So these are all 4s. These are all 5s. These are all 4s. These are all 1s. The percussion doesn't have to follow along. Now, that might get crazy having 2 synthesizers together. Let's hear it. Yeah, now see, I can solo these 2 and just hear how that works. That's pretty active. I think some of you might like that, but I'm going to go for something a little different. So I'm going to cut that out, and this is where you get to make your music choices yourself. I might go with something a little simpler like that, or maybe even get back out to something maybe a little lighter. Actually, I think I like that top one up here. Detroit. I used Detroit before. Maybe these fit together. I don't know. But I'm going to do 1, 4, 5, 4 and see if I like it. Now there's another problem because I kind of have 2 melodies. This one is kind of a melody and so is this one. So it'll work. It'll work. I'm going to find something that's a little more background sound. Pads are usually good for that. Because they don't really do a whole lot. They just kind of... I like that one. Again, all band members should, and I say should because you can break that rule, but for now, don't. Now I've got drums, bass, harmony, and melody, so I think I want to make some volume adjustments, so I can do that manually, or I can open up the mixer here and press play with the space bar. Now I've made it sound a little bit better. All right, that qualifies. It's saved correctly. I loaded my sounds in. I found a drum beat. I followed chord progressions in the bass, harmony, and melody sounds that I chose. It's 8 measures long. I can use that section anywhere I want in a song later when I create a song. So that's it. Save and move on to the next project. So the next step before I do that, though, is to raise my hand and have Mr. Anderson come check it and make sure that it follows the right chord progression and that there are the 4 sounds that I need and that it's 8 measures long. And then you get your points.